Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. We're here going to be doing another review, of course. That's basically all I do on Blitz. And we're going to be doing a review here of the D1, which is the new French Tier 2, what is it, light tank, yes. So, yeah, we're going to be doing a review of the light tank here. Well, it's supposedly a light tank, but it's not really. As you can see, the French have been added. It's been live for 2 days now, I think it is. And, well, I finally got myself the D2 because basically I literally haven't been bothered with the French line. As you can see, by the amount of free XP, I am going for my first tier 9 ever in either of the World of Tanks, which is going to be this thing, the VK4502B, to lead to the mouse, because, well, it's the mouse. Who doesn't want to own the mouse? Let me just check the penetration values of this. 246, it is the same. Right. But anyway, so yeah, as you can see, this is the standard French Tech Tree Tier 2 light tank. And for direct comparison, I'm going to be comparing it to the Panzer 38H. Because they're both French tanks, and this is going to be a sort of, does the Panzer 38H still have it? Because when this thing was originally released, back in the PC version of World of Tanks, way long ago, when you could still buy it from the tech tree, when this thing was first released, there was no such thing as the French tanks, there was no such things as the British tanks, there were no such things as the Japanese, Chinese, Czechoslovakian, Swedish tanks. I don't even know if there was the Americans in the game when this thing was taken out the shop. But when this thing was in the premium shop and in the tech tree for gold, it was very overpowered because it was the only French tank in the game, and it had 40mm of armour all round on the turret and the hull, which is where it really earned its reputation as the micro mouse. But of course, PC evolved. The PC game evolved. The French tanks were added to the game, and they came with the Hotchkiss 38, with the Hotchkiss H35, and they also came more recently with things like the what is it? No, I forgot the name of it. That the Renault R35, that's one of them, and then what is it? The FCM, I think it is. But yeah, so those were added to the game. This thing lost its edge because the French tanks were the same armour but superior in many ways. So because the French have just been added to the game, we're going to be seeing, has the 30H still got it? Are the French tanks going to make this thing useless like they did? Well, more redundant than it is than it was when the French weren't in the game, like the PC version did. Because really, on the PC, the only reason people still want this game on the PC, want this tank on the PC, is because it's a rare tank. Of course, it still has relevance in Blitz because the French weren't around, but the French are now arrived, so it has this thing basically removed the 38H from ever being needed, other than for it being rare. And the answer to me, no, I do not believe so, and I will tell you why. Because we'll have a look here at the characteristics of the 38H, which is 12% protection, 14% firepower, 50% shot effectiveness, 29% maneuverability. So 12, 14, 50, 29. 12, 14, 50, 29. And we have got here 12, 14, 30, 28. So as you can see, not really much difference between them. Because having a look here, the hit points of the 38H, 210, with 40 hull armor all round and 40 turret armor all round. So 210 is the number to beat, and it does beat it. 280. However, the armor is not as good. 30 all round hull armor. There are many things in the game which you've got at tier 2 which have got more than 30mm of penetration. Turret armor, however, is better. 40, 40, 35. So 30, 30, 30, 40, 40, 35. So yeah, it's less well armoured than the 38H. It does have some sloping here, which will ricochet some things, and it does have this sloping, which also ricochets things. But it's got this big weak spot, which is flat, It's got this big weak spot, which is flat. It's got this big weak spot, which is flat. And it's also got this weak spot, which is, well, it's sloped here, which means that this will ricochet some things unless you're at a slope like this. And this actually counts as armor, this rear scoop, so that counts as armor, so don't shoot there, shoot around it. Okay, not very difficult to remember. But the only reason that this, I think, has got the same protection value of the 38H is because it's got more HP. It's got less armor on the hull, but more HP, and that's what makes it have the same protection characteristics. But in terms of raw armor thickness, no, it doesn't beat the 38H. It has 70 more hit points, which sort of makes up for the lack of armor compared to the 38H. But even so, the 38H will probably survive longer because, well, I mean, it's got 40 all round. It's very sloped. This is really the only weak spot from the front that I can think of. The rest of it's all sloped and things around here. And angling up, yeah, things like that. This angling up, maybe not so useful because this turns into a weak spot rather than this and this. So, yeah. And just as a historical note, these scoops which you see on the back of French tanks, these scoops are to help them cross trenches. What would happen is that they would drive, down into the trench, and then as they were getting up, the scoop would help push them out the trench rather than them rolling back down into it again. So that was the point of the scoop. But yeah, so it doesn't beat the armor of the 38H, but doesn't beat the maneuverability. So it's got 29% maneuverability for the 38H, and this has got 28. So we'll have a look here at the 38H, which has got a 10 tons of raw micro mouse steel with a 75 horsepower engine. Yeah, okay. 37 km/h speed limit. Yeah, it's pretty slow. 33 traverse speed, 26 tire traverse. Yeah, that's pretty terrible. So, yeah, 10, 75, 37, 33, 26. Compared to the D1, which has got a 12.24 tons with a 74 horsepower engine. So it's got a weaker engine and it weighs more. So that's the problem right there. Which means that it only goes at 28 km/h, which means that it's even slower than the 38H. It has got better traverse speed, 38.35, and the tire traverse is 24.52. So it turns better, but it's slower and has a weaker engine and therefore a worse power-to-weight ratio. So, yeah, okay. It's more underpowered in terms of engine power than the 38H. So, yeah, it has good points and has bad points. It has got better traverse speeds, but it has a worse speed limit, worse power-to-weight, weighs more. Yeah. Okay, so the 38H will beat it in a straight line and going up hills, but turning, the D1's got the edge. Okay, so what about, well, there's the engine for the Hotchkiss. 75 horsepower, 20% chance of fire and impact. The tire traverse, 26, yeah. 258.4 meters view range, because it has coated optics. If I was to add coated optics onto this, 247, so yeah, okay. Doesn't quite have the same view range as the 38H, but there's the engine, 20% chance of fire and impact. This is actually an upgraded engine. It actually has 9 more horsepower. Yeah, 9 whole horsepower more. There's the turret, sorry. I was about to say the engine, but no, there's the turret. 224 meters view range base, so yeah. 24 degrees per second tire traverse. There's the suspension, load limit of 14.25 tons, 38 traverse speed. Yeah, okay. So let me just equipment these two things up at the same, just so that we have a level comparison here. Coated optics, yeah, purchase, weight 100 kilograms. Okay, I'm actually going to put this on because I think that's more useful to this tank. But now we come to the guns. So just to reacquaint you with the 37mm SA38L34 that's mounted on the micro mouse, here it is in all of its glory. It has a 16.5 16.56 rate of fire rounds per minute, with a 41 average penetration, 64 with APCR, and 10 with high explosive. Yeah, okay. 37mm high explosive. Yeah, gotta be grand. 40 average damage. Okay, fair enough. 50 with high explosive. Yeah, alright. The dispersion isn't that great. 0.37. 4.5 second aim time. Yeah, alright. So the penetration is alright for the tier, but then it's still a tier 1 gun. It's still not great. But then again, only ever sees really tier 2, so nothing much to worry about there. You can still get through much armour. You can still get through your own armour if you're point blank range. Dispersion isn't that great, but then again, it's not the worst. The aim time's alright. The average damage is decent enough for the rate of fire, and it has a pretty decent rate of fire. So there's the gun. It's a decent enough all-round gun. It's not that great, but then again, it's not the worst gun ever mounted on a tier 2. So, alright, there's that. Now we come to the guns on the D1. So, the gun I've gone with is the 25mm Cannon Recueil, which is what most people will have mounted on their tier 2 tanks in World of Tanks PC. But for now, we're going to look at the 47 SA34 and compare it. So, compared to the 38H, sorry, it has got a slower rate of fire, 14.95. Has worse penetration, 25 with armor piercing, but then 24 with high explosive. So you can see this is basically a strange looking derp gun. It has got better average damage, 75 with high explosive or 60 with armor piercing. It has got worse dispersion, however, 0.47, which is terrible because this thing is basically like a howitzer. 0.44 aim time, which is actually slightly better than the 37, but the dispersion is horrible, so yeah, that makes up for it. So overall, this is basically a howitzer mounted for your tier 2 tank, because it's got almost the same penetration with high explosive than it does AP. It's only one less, who really cares about that? And it does a lot more damage than the 37. However, this is the gun that most people have mounted, which is the 25mm Cannon Recueil, or Recueil, I don't know. I'm just going to keep calling it the Recueil. Middle 1934, and you will notice that they've actually spiced it up for World of Tanks Blitz, in the fact that it's actually an auto-loading gun. It's a cannon, the same as you would find on the Panzer II, almost. It's got 6 shells in this magazine for the 25, with 1 second shell reload between each of them, and a total reload time of 8.81. It's got better average penetration than the 37 mounted on the micro mouse, with 46 compared to the 41, or 68 compared to the 61 of the micro mouse. So it's slightly better average penetration. However, it does have worse average damage, with 25 for both AP and APCR. No high explosive, as you will note, because it's such a small caliber, obviously. So the average damage is almost half that of the micro mouse, so it will take about 2 shots from this to do the same average damage as 1 shot from the 38H, but then again, it's a magazine system. It does have worse penetration, worse dispersion, 0.52 dispersion, almost 0.53, and it does have, well, it actually has a pretty good aim time, a very, very swift reload time, aim time, sorry, of 2.4 seconds, which is just amazingly fast for Blitz. So it has a very good aim time, but horrible dispersion. But the penetration is decent. The average damage for a magazine, what's the 6 shells? So that's 6 times 25, so that's 20, 50, 75, 100. You can do about 150 average damage per in 8 seconds. So in 8 seconds, you've got 150, sorry, then you've got another 8.8 seconds to reload the magazine. So that's your vulnerable point when you're reloading the magazine. But it's a magazine-fed 25mm. This is very fun to play around with on this tank. So they both have got good points and bad points, but in terms of keeping the gun firing, the 38H does have the advantage, but then again, this is fun. It also has slightly better penetration. But yeah, it also carries double the ammunition capacity of the 38H, 200 compared to 100. As for the equipment fit, I've gone with improved vents, obviously. The magazine, you'll want to reload that as quick as possible. Coated optics is always useful to extend that view range. Enhanced gun lane drive I've got for the dispersion between shots. Suspension durability you may want to keep yourself rolling forwards. The cannon does best at close range rather than long range, so yeah, you go ahead, fit your enhanced vertical cores. Wet ammo rack in case your ammo rack keeps getting damaged. No tanks filled with CO2 you will notice. So yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. But the wet ammo rack you can mount. Camo, binos, no. Not for this gun, not for the top gun either, because that's not a sniping gun, and neither is the autocannon either, really. It's an autocannon. If you want to snipe, pick something like the 38H. But yeah, so I would say no to binos and camo. Spoiler, your armor's still alright for tier 2. It's pretty decent for tier 2. But maybe not a bad idea actually, like Spoiler. Do I have that mounted on this? No, I do not. Can I fit it? Yes, I can. Why haven't I fitted it? Replace that. Yes, there you go. Light Spoiler. Excellent. So, actually, how much does that weigh? 250, 100. Yeah, alright. But even so. So, yeah. Even so, you may want to fit a light spoiler, but then up to you, and the toolbox is always useful. Yeah, 200 rounds are 25. You can, of course, fit the same sort of consumables as you can the 38H. As you can see, they're both exactly the same. You can both fit standard fuel for plus 3% to engine power or type reverse. Can pate for plus 3% to crew mastery. Then protective kit, 15% to protection of crew from injuries, 10% speed and module repair, 20% fire protection, 10% ammo and fuel tank durability. Activate automatically permanent throughout the battle. So yeah, you can go ahead and mount them if you want. I don't bother because I just prefer to stockpile my credits. As you can see, I've got a lot of credits because I've been opening loads of boxes in order to get the 50T and the IS-2. Mostly the 50T, but the IS-2 was a sort of bonus. So, yeah. As for the consumables, repair kit, first aid kit, fire extinguisher, engine power boost, 20% engine power for 15 seconds with a 75-second cooldown, and a multi-purpose restoration pack, which does all three of these combined into one. As you will notice, because I'm using the autocannon, there is no adrenaline rush like you have got for the 38H. Of course, if I was using the sort of more derp gun 47mm, then you would, no doubt, get the adrenaline rush boost in order for you to possibly equip it if you want. So yeah, I can't really say much. You can go with one of them, two of them, no problem. Which means that I actually don't have to say the same thing that I say over and over again every time I go over consumables. But anyway, yes, so there's not much I can really say about crew skills in terms of... that looks alright. In terms of crew skills for the D1, because Blitz uses a different crew skill system. So, yeah, that's basically the overview compared to the 38H. Is it a capable tank? Yes, the gun is fun. The gun is fun. The armor is not as good as the 38H, not for the hull at least. Well, here and here it's not good, but then the slopey sides, yeah, they're decent, and then that's decent. Angling doesn't really work as effectively unless you can sort of cover up this bit, because otherwise these become the weak spots, like I said, instead of this and this, although this may still be a weak spot, I'm not too sure. As for the turret is sort of impregnable, 40mm plus, look at this. What is this? It's just a mess of armor. You can't even tell what the hell's happening there. It's just such an ugly thing to look at compared to the nice little turret of the 38H. But they both have got a crew of 2. I think they do. Yeah, one guy there, one guy there. Yeah, I think it's still a crew of 2. So, yeah. In my opinion, does it replace the 38H? That has the 38H. lost its edge to the D1? No, no, definitely not. I would say the D1 is a capable French tank, but it's no Micro Mouse. Micro Mouse has still got a place in Blitz, definitive, most certainly. And that is in effect the D1 review, and also the is this still viable? I'll probably do a separate video of me just playing with that thing, just to show that it is still viable. That it, well, at least that it still has a charm which you can't get at tier 2 still. So yeah, that's the D1. It's a capable French tank with a fun autocannon, most definitely. So I'll thank you for watching. And